Peter Walton joins us. Pete, let's start, shall we, with the Liverpool City game. Well, I think every single pundit on our show agreed that this should have been a foul. However, it wasn't given. A lot of people in England disagree with the boys here. They felt that it was just shoulder to shoulder.
I too think it was a shoulder to shoulder. It's a shoulder barge. Stone there, he's probably anticipating some kind of physical contact anyway. And as part of the game itself, the physical game itself, I don't see that as a foul.
Pete, Pete, let me tell you, you're back in England now. You must, somebody with half a brain in the head broadcasting in the UK must have got their old video machine out and just stopped one of the angles there. The second angle that we showed you, it clearly shows the push was in the back, because if you froze the frame, you can see the whole of John Stones' right-hand shoulder. So it's just impossible that it was shoulder to shoulder. Has nobody even brought this up?
Well, I've seen all the stills and the frames as well, and I still think that it wasn't necessarily a push. It was a bump, and a bump is part of the game. And for me, it wasn't. It didn't rise to a foul situation. I think the referee got it right.
It was not a push, but a bump.
Yeah.
A bump, but it went from shoulder to shoulder to push to a bump. All I can conclude is, Pete, you're awful at biology. How you come up with that shoulder to shoulder is beyond me.
Anatomy. I think.
You fail anatomy class.
Anatomy. No, I may be appalling at biology, but I understand the law a little bit, and for me that wasn't enough.
Well, I'll tell you what's not in the laws of the game, Pete, I don't believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is the old adage that you hear from quite a lot of people, well, he has to be stronger there. That's not in the laws of the game, is it?
No, it's not in the laws of the game, but it's an accepted custom. It's an accepted custom throughout the world.
Is it accepted custom to push somebody in the back? Because
I didn't say put. Yeah, you're saying, Craigie, you're saying he's pushed him. I don't think he's pushed him. I think that's a bump as a consequence of coming together to challenge for the ball.
Should he have gone down, Peter? Would that have made a difference?
Well, that's a good question, that is, because, you know, if a defender goes down, there's a risk and reward, really, and the reward is to get a free kick. The risk, of course, is to let Firmino in on goal. If you contrast that to an attacker has the risk of going down is a yellow card, and the reward is a penalty kick. So, on that instance there, I think that Stone knew there was contact coming, braced himself, and accepted it. And again, I don't think he had it in his mind to fall over.
If John Stones goes down, it's 100% called a foul. I don't have any doubt that if he sells the call, we see that time and time again, clearly would have been a foul, and we're not even having this discussion. And that's where I have a problem, because we criticize players when they embellish. If John Stones embellished in this play, there would have been a foul, there would have been no goal.
It's a contact sport. If he pulls him, I don't think...
At the same time, one arm comes around his bicep, one arm comes over his shoulder. You're asking for trouble. That has to be given. I don't see how it's not.
Certainly, I know what it's not. It's not a dive. It's not a yellow card. It's not simulation. And so, therefore, at that point, I don't think that he deserved that yellow card. And then you can argue, well, Morata shouldn't get in the face of the referee. I understand all that. But it all comes from the fact that I think the referee makes the wrong call in giving him a yellow card to begin with.
It goes back to the Nias challenge. It's slightly different for Everton when he was suspended retrospectively. When there was contact, when the armour came across, there's absolutely no doubt there was contact, but was it enough to make him go down? The answer then was no, and I think the answer here again was no. Now that was reviewed by VAR, not reviewed by the referee. So again, similar to recently, two eyes got to look at it.
Now, if Gab Marcotti was here, he would say this is the perfect example as to why VAR is working, because it's not a clear and obvious error, because you three can't agree on whether or not it's a penalty. So therefore, VAR got this one right.
Well, that's subjective, isn't it?
Well, this is the thing. It's not clear and obvious.
It's great.
The problem about it is that if the referee had given a penalty, also VAR would not have overturned it.
Exactly.
And that's where we get, are we getting the right call in the end? And that's what the give and take that I don't quite understand. If you see the video and you deem it that it's not a penalty, then see it as such. But then use the technology that you have available. I don't see why it has to be a clear and obvious error for the referee to actually go take a look at it. This is the point that I don't quite understand. You have the technology. Let the referee take a second look at it.
And the question then becomes, what is clear and obvious when you have 100% agreement? We're not going to have 100% agreement on anything, on any call.
On most things, Shaq. Come on. Not on most controversial things. I think we've sat here.
If a referee makes a mistake, you're not going to have 100% agreement that it should be overturned.
The West Brom Arsenal, everyone agreed that was a penalty. That shouldn't have been a penalty.
Fine.
Surely that's an example.
But initially,
it's a sweeping statement to say.
No, initially, Steve Nicol thought.
Oh, yes, but Steve Nicol doesn't count.
But that's my point. My point is, if you're only going to act when there's 100% agreement, and I'm not talking about just this power, that you have 100% or near enough agreement, then you're barking up the wrong tree, because people will always see things differently.
Yesterday, when the decision on the Leicester game, and people were saying this is a historic moment in English football.
Everyone was saluting VAR.
And they're going, this is historic, like it was the greatest thing ever. Historic in English football. VAR's got the first ever decision correct with the Iheanacho goal. Everything's great. And tonight, people are just going, VAR! VAR!
Also in France today, domestic action, PSG taking on Dijon. Dijon are 11th in the French league.
You don't need VAR for this.
They lost 8-0. PSG 8, Dijon 0, Neymar with 4, and he got booed, Neymar, well, according to Julien Laurent, because he won a penalty, and for his 4th goal he took it. Well, sorry, Cavani won the penalty, and it was Neymar who decided to take it.
And they were allegedly singing Cavani's name.
Yeah.
Which he didn't like.
This is going great.
Smooth.
Oh, bad.
I thought this was result.
I thought it was 1 each. I thought they took 1 each.
No, it's 8-0.
Well.
Well, they got his 4 goals, Neymar, didn't he? Was it 4 he got?
Dear me. And by the way, as well, we saw celebrating again, balancing something on his head.
What this time? Do we know? Do we know what it was this time?
I believe a glove.
A glove.
A glove now.
Yeah.
Which he took off, and then.
Somebody,
he's asking. That's why he got booed.
He's asking for trouble. I'm telling you. I'm not saying it's right, but he's asking for somebody to boil over and lose their patience with him, and it could hurt him.
Meanwhile, PSG, I think we all agree, are going to have a great run in the Champions League, obviously, if they get past Real Madrid. Does it make a difference that they're playing teams of inferior quality that they're going to meet in the Champions League, in the sense that, is it easy then just to go, boom, right back into action, despite the fact you're rolling over these teams?
It's a difficult one. It's one that's been thrown at... It was thrown at Pep when he was at Bayern Munich, when they'd won the league, and it became so easy. I don't have the answer. I think not, would be my opinion.
But then PSG have had these issues over recent years as well. Maybe they are stronger without question with Neymar in their ranks, but I don't think they've lived up to some of the expectations in the Champions League.
And I don't think it's an issue if you play as well as you did today, beating a teammate nothing, meaning that you're not lowering your standards to lower opposition. Right. You're staying at a high level, and at that point, you believe that then they would be able to take care of whoever comes in front of them in Champions League. Lionel Messi has missed 32% of the penalties he's taken. That's a high number.
Yeah.
And something that you expect that from somebody else, but not from the best player in the world. You would expect that Lionel Messi would be better at penalties than he is, but somehow, when it comes to it, he's going to miss some. And the truth is that we should not be surprised now.
Come on, Burley. Why is your conversion rate? Why is your conversion rate better at penalties than the GOAT?
Because I didn't take as many. I did miss a couple. Maybe he should go in Neymar mode. Unless he's in Neymar mode, somebody else can take a penalty.
Yeah, do you think so?
I mean, there's other...
How can you explain this? Someone as great as he is...
I don't know, because he scored some of the greatest goals that we've seen in this generation. Whether it's dribbling past 5 or 6 men, or scoring from an acute angle, or a 25, 30-yard free kick in the top corner. He's just so capable. But, as Ali said, he's almost like a... 1 in 3 he's missing, and that's hard to fathom out.
Some interesting reports in Spain over the last couple of days about the future of Cristiano Ronaldo. Apparently, the Ballon d'Or winner wants out at Madrid. Raf Honigstein, let's start with you. Raf, is this his last season in the Spanish capital?
I doubt it. I doubt it. I think we've been down this route before. We've heard it before. It's usually been used as a pressure point to get a better deal, or to get some kind of commitment or some love, and I just don't see it, and I don't see that much of a market for him. If you want, of course, the goals, if you want the glamour, the name, the brand, yes, if you want a footballer that's still got his best time ahead of him, then no, he'll be 33 very soon. For that money, difficult, I think, to shift him.
Where would he go?
Do you know, at some point, I don't know is the answer, but I think at some point, Real Madrid have bent over backwards for this guy on numerous occasions, and probably rightly so, the way he's performed for them. But at some point, someone's going to have to call his bluff. In terms of, you can't just keep doing this and then expect them to give him another new contract.
His contract's up in 2021, by the way. He'll be 36 by then.
Yeah. And wasn't that long ago that he signed that.
2016.
Yeah.
The only possible destination I could see for Ronaldo at this point is Manchester United. Will they be willing to pay the transfer fee that I'm sure Real Madrid will ask? I doubt.
China?
Maybe, but I just feel Manchester United, as much noise as he's made about returning to Old Trafford, I feel that's the only sensible destination. Saying that, whatever happens, I don't think they'll be getting value for money in terms of the player.
What about MLS, Al? Is that an option?
It's an option, but it depends on how they approach a contract negotiation with Cristiano Ronaldo, because I don't think that the money that he would be demanding would be in play. However, if you make him a partner in a team, if you make him part of jersey sales...
How did they get Beckham done?
Well, that's part of it.
Right.
Is that it wasn't just his performance on the field that he was getting paid for. There were other things that were attached to it, and that's how they structured the deal. I think there's something to be said about MLS reaching out. They'll certainly be on the lookout for the possibility of Cristiano Ronaldo, because he's a game changer for
It's a proper signing. Yes, like Beckham.
Yes, and again, it gives you a much bigger platform from which you can showcase your product. In that sense, you would think that MLS would be all over it. As it pertains to the player that you're getting, I think it's different. When it comes to Cristiano, it's more of the brand than anything else.
But it wouldn't be LA, would it, be any chance?
It'd be a big market, I'll tell you that much.
Not Columbus?
No. Well, hopefully Columbus is around, baby.
But seriously, I mean, I've criticised before the fact that you're bringing in the older player. But but even though he's not performing like he can, he's still at a standard that this would be a huge marketing tool for Major League Soccer. Yeah. Seriously, that you're bringing in 50% of the greatest players of the generation between him and Messi. Now, Messi's not ready to do this yet. That might happen at a different time. But Ronaldo might just be.
Look, one of the underpinnings of the Beckham deal was, of course, the Adidas contract with David Beckham and with Major League Soccer. Cristiano Ronaldo is a Nike athlete. Now, how does that play off in terms of the association with Major League Soccer? I'm just saying. Wow. I'm just saying.
Crunching the numbers here.
How does that play off? How does that structure?
You want a piece of the deal or something?
I'll happily have a piece of that deal.
Raf, so when he does leave Real Madrid, what is his most likely destination?
I think at 36, I mean, I personally believe that his dream would be to just play until he's 36 and then disappear into the sunset. Why would you go anywhere else? You don't need the money. You don't need to prove anything. I don't think he is motivated by money at this point. I see the perfect scenario as him lasting the deal. But the problem is, does Real Madrid want him to last the deal? Or is the point coming where they are saying to him, you know what, we'd like you to leave? And Real Madrid have said it to so many big players in the past. I think they're reluctant to force him too much, but if he's feeling that these are the kind of the vibes that are being sent, then I don't think he'll be ready to sit on the bench for 2 years.
I don't think that Cristiano Ronaldo is the sort of athlete and personality that just rise into the sunset. No. I don't see that. He likes the attention.
The sunset comes to him.
Yeah, and you know what? Sunset Boulevard in LA, that's the sort of attention he wants.
He said he wants to be an actor.
Oh, here we go.
Well, picture him in with Frank LaBeouf. He does these silent movies for obvious reasons. I mean, Ronaldo should take up golf. What's wrong with people? As Raf said, retire. Take up sport. Golf.
Would you play golf with Ronaldo?
Listen, I know 3 people that could golf with Ronaldo. Could make a 4-ball up with you 3.
No.
You might not enjoy it.
Oh, you'll enjoy it.
No, you'll have fun.
I'll tell you what, that'll be an experience.
Double golf with Ronaldo.
But just don't let Stevie Nicol play behind him.
As a Callaway man, how does that change things? ESPN FC, of course, with you throughout the week. If you ever miss a show, you can download our daily podcast over on the website.
Antonio Conte's future or lack thereof at Chelsea seems to be the topic of discussion these days. Ale Moreno is here with me. Ale, if we go on the article that's on our website, espnfc.com, they say he has the air of a manager who knows he's in the wrong job. Is that how you see it?
You know what's interesting is that they did win the league.
Exactly. So it doesn't seem that off to me, does it?
And it feels like this is a team in turmoil. And they have been in turmoil. And whether it was Diego Costa, was he coming back, not coming back? Did Conte send him a text, not a text, and all these things that happened. And from then on, everything around Antonio Conte and Chelsea has been controversy. And I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to get these players. These players are not coming in. These are not my first choice players. They're not getting me the players that I want. Am I going to be here? Am I not going to be here? And then all these things, I think, in a way, affect what goes on the field. Then you add the fact that he's going in a back and forth with Jose Mourinho, which is something that you never win with Jose Mourinho, because if there's something that Mourinho is really good at is manipulating a press conference and manipulating the media. He does that better than anybody else around the world. And so I think Antonio Conte, perhaps subconsciously, has forgotten about a very basic principle, and that is he's there to coach the team. And
you think he's just too caught up in everything around?
Everything that is going on around Chelsea doesn't translate into good performances on the field. And Antonio Conte has a hand in that as well. I think it seems inevitable that he's moving on. And I just don't understand why. The truth of the matter is that we don't have all the information available. But a coach that just managed a team into a championship just last season, just months ago. They were not even talking about, this was 5-6 years ago. No, this was just months ago. And somehow everything has now turned sour for Chelsea and Antonio Conte.
We're so off the pitch.
Yeah, and it's just, the conversations are never very straightforward. Everything is, he said, she said, they promised me this, I didn't get that. And all of those things make it all that very complicated. He's looking for a way out, I think. And I think Chelsea are very happy to accommodate that as well.
Quickly, we're hearing Allegri that could be the man to take over. Do you like that, yay or nay?
Nay, from the perspective that I think Allegri is going to stay at Juventus. Allegri is a tremendous manager, tremendous coach. He's a proven coach, and I think he would do a wonderful job wherever he goes. But I think that Juventus know what they have in their hands, and I don't feel that they'll just let him go. Allegri is very much a part of what Juventus are doing right now.
All right, so the Conte talks continue. I promise you this is not the last time we'll be talking about it until we see a decision, whether it comes now or at the end of the season. We will be tuning in. It's been quite the interesting season for Real Madrid. And
that's one way to say it.
That's one way to say it. I'm trying to be nice because it's definitely not a good thing. From Cristiano Ronaldo being eternally unhappy there, I suppose we could say, Karim Benzema becoming public enemy #1, and Gareth Bale with his injury issues and playing time and all of that. We're hearing, Ale, that we could see a complete overhaul of the BBC for an NHL. Neymar, Hazard, and Lewandowski. Now, this sounds crazy, but we know Real Madrid have the power to pull off something like this. Do you see it? Is it feasible?
All at the same time? No. How do you work out the numbers? How do you work out the contracts? How do you manage people exiting the club and people coming into the club? I don't see it happening right away.
Do they need an overhaul this way?
What I do see is that as we have this conversation, Real Madrid are 19 points behind Barcelona. So when that's happening, then yes, there is a need for change, and a change that I think may just include Zinedine Zidane. If they don't get past PSG in Champions League, that's something that may come into the discussion. And then you have to overhaul the roster as well. This is a roster that won back-to-back Champions League, and yet right now they're incapable of getting any sort of result with any sort of consistency. And so, yes, there will be changes because this is the reality of a club like Real Madrid. You're not winning when you're supposed to be winning. You're not meeting the expectations that you're supposed to be meeting. Then what happens is that changes are made. And those are going to be major changes. The situation about Cristiano Ronaldo, it feels like we have this conversation every year.
Because he's unhappy every year.
Yeah, and it's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that he is unhappy when he's only scored 4 La Liga goals and the team is not doing well. And so instead of focusing on the fact that he's not playing very well, we're going to focus on the fact that, well, he's unhappy, he wants to leave Real Madrid, and how does that conversation change the dynamic of actually discussing the fact that his performances have not been good enough on the field. And that's a lot of what's happening around Real Madrid. That Florentino Perez may be floating the idea of there may be overhaul, that there may be changes. That shifts the focus as to what the future may hold to Real Madrid, rather than focusing on what we have seen so far. And what we have seen so far is simply not good enough.
Not good enough at all. I think there was a stat that weekend that Real Madrid are actually further away from Barcelona than they are from the relegation zone. So
that's not good.
That is not good at all. That is not the Real Madrid that we know. So something needs to be done. We'll see if this BBC for NHL does indeed happen.
Wow.
It's our favorite time of day. Well, my favorite time of day. It's rumor-rated time. Ale Moreno is joining me. He's going to try and crack some of these rumors. Aubameyang, no surprise that he's not exactly happy at Dortmund, and they're not 100% happy with him, dropping him for, disciplinary reasons. So would Arsenal be a good move for him, Ale?
He's been going for a while now. And the truth of the matter is he doesn't show up on time to training. If he shows up at all, he's been suspended. He wants to go. Dortmund want to move away from Aubameyang as well.
He's scoring goals.
He scores goals, and that's why you hang on to him. And if you're Arsenal, at this point, you're seeing your talent going away. You're seeing your season also going away. And so it feels perhaps that it's a necessary move for Arsenal. And in some ways, a desperate move for Arsenal, but it's what you need to do. You go after Aubameyang simply because he's available, and you're going to pay whatever you're going to pay in this transfer market. I think they both need it. Arsenal needs it. Aubameyang needs a change as well.
Two desperate parties coming together. If that doesn't sound like a hit, I don't know what is. Suso, back to Liverpool.
No.
Flat out.
No. Well, he said he doesn't want to go.
Yeah, he said he's happy.
So I don't know where the rumor is coming from, but I would tell you that he's fine in Milan. I think he wants to stay there. He's playing well there. And his last experience in Liverpool was not all that positive.
Alisson to Liverpool. We know Liverpool needs some goalkeepers. Sorry.
Why? What? Karius and Mignolet haven't been all that great? No, they haven't. Well,
trying to be nice here.
Yeah. Now, look, Liverpool need a goalkeeper, and Alisson is available. And there is this talk that he may be going somewhere. Well, I think we're sort of putting 2 and 2 together here, even though it doesn't quite add up to 4. It's simply because Alisson may be going somewhere, but it may not be Liverpool, and it may not be in this transfer window either. Just because Liverpool needs a goalkeeper doesn't mean it's going to be Alisson. However, simply because this is a choice that I'm given, and Liverpool is desperate, it may just be that it happens.
Emre Can to Juventus.
He gone.
Gonski.
He gone. He gone.
End of story.
Well, he was offered a contract extension. He said, you know what? It's not you. It's me. I'm out. And so,
peace.
Take care.
Belotti to Atletico Madrid.
He was supposed to go to Atletico Madrid in that last transfer window, but Torino was holding on to this $100 million transfer fee that was never going to happen. And now Belotti is part of an Italian national team that is not going to the World Cup. So his stage has become a whole lot smaller. And so, in fact, he's not on the stage. And so to that end, I think he's running out of options. And it becomes Atletico Madrid as an option once again because we expect Antoine Griezmann to move on. I think this is going to happen perhaps in the summer.
Rafinha to Inter.
He gone as well. He gone. Well, he gone because where's he going to play?
He's not.
He's not even fifth choice at this point, and you look at Coutinho coming in. Paulinho's been done well. Iniesta is doing well. Andre Gomes still around, and when they have an option to play somebody in the midfield, instead of bringing him in, they bring Sergio Roberto in and play Semedo outside. He's gone. I don't know if it's to Inter, but he's gone.
And finally, Massimiliano Allegri to take over at Chelsea because we know that Antonio Conte is probably having one foot out the door.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that Allegri is going to Chelsea. I think Juventus are more than happy with Massimiliano Allegri. He's done a wonderful job there. And I think Juventus understands what they have in Allegri. I just don't think that they're just going to let him walk out to Chelsea. Chelsea needs to find a manager simply because Antonio Conte seems unhappy, but I don't know that Allegri is the answer.
Two very unhappy people in this world, Antonio Conte and Cristiano Ronaldo. Maybe they can form their own team. Thanks so much to Ale Moreno. We make a good team. Continue tracking all of these rumors here at ESPNFC.com. We're not unhappy.